I'm using a Hahnemühle hand lettering pad and a Zebra Sensations 0.5 nib. The way that I'm going to do an elephant today is a bit different than I've been doing some of my other step outs. I've really been pushing the idea of shapes. You can see here I've already done the step out. It's more organic the way that I'm going to draw it this time. In essence, I'm just going to follow the shape of the elephant itself rather than, you know, I had done like a big circle for the body, or kind of an oval circle, and a circle for the head, sort of a teardrop for the trunk, you know, rectangles for the legs. And I thought, you know, that's not the way I draw, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't think the shapes is a bad way to go. It's a good way to learn, and I won't abandon that entirely. But I really would like some feedback as to whether you like seeing things drawn this way. It might even be easier for some people having it done this way. So let's get started. The reason I'm starting with the ear is because it is in front of the head, and if you draw the head first, then you're going to have a line going through the ear, and that's fine if you want to draw it with a pencil first. That might be easier yet. When you draw this leg, you want it to end about where the trunk ends. You might be longer, and in fact in real life the legs would be lower, but there's sort of an organic feel for the way things match up if you do it that way. And that's totally artist's choice. For sort of a cartoony look, you would match them. Now, that's an Indian elephant. I did in fact do that a little differently. You see here, I came up actually and started this way so they could match with the back. But in this case, going this way, I got more of a slope. And in fact, there are two kinds of elephants. Actually, I think there's more than two. There's an Indian elephant and an African elephant, however. The Indian elephant has a back that slopes like this. Get that little eye in there, just a little twisty. A little more tail. I'm going to go ahead and do an African elephant now. They have larger ears. The head's shaped a little bit differently too, but I can't remember just from memory exactly how different it is. Now I'm going to leave it at this point. Is the African elephant, his rear end goes up higher than the front shoulders. So if by chance you want to show that you've got an African setting or an Indian setting, that's one way you can easily do it. People probably will notice even if they don't notice. So that's actually three different ways that you can do the back. This is a more stylized, cartoony way. And if you're going to do it this way, come up here behind the ear and approximately start where the head is and swing down. If you're doing it this way, you can still do that, match up. I can kind of do that I could probably do it in my sleep, where I just sort of look where things match. And that's something you should, a matter of observation when you're drawing, is don't just kind of go anywhere. Look and see where something ended, and if you think it's something that matches, then try and start in approximately the same place. Now there are a lot of ways that you can spice up your elephant, so to speak. Most people sort of go for this segmenting of the trunk because it's pretty apparent on an elephant. We'll go ahead and give them 4 legs. Because this leg is farther away, it should be a little bit shorter. And depending on how he's standing, the leg might be, this back leg might be on the inside. On this elephant, we're making them so that they are in front of the closer legs. That's just kind of however the elephant happens to be standing, artist's choice. Other things that you can do, the elephants have really small eyes, but they tend to have a lot of wrinkling around them. And if you kind of want to bring extra notice to the eyes, a good way is to add some wrinkles around it. If you make the eye big, that's cute, and in fact, you can do it. It's artist's choice. But the more realistic is to have a small eye. And this is sort of what people expect with an elephant. Ears always have this kind of flap here. I mean, that's almost any animal will have some sort of a flap. Trying to remember now, I think the ears go more like this. And let's emphasize that this is the front leg. And notice this one I just made more of a shoulder, and in fact the shoulder would kind of go up like that, and this is more of the hip. I like to give them little knees. There usually is some fairly heavy wrinkling around their knees. And any place where there's kind of a joint, there's going to be some wrinkling. You're going to have some, not so much curling, but so kind of look for places where you think, where does the leg join the body, and where's the shoulder and the hip, and you can emphasize those things. They have a little bit of looser skin here. It's not like a dewlap like you might see on a Brahma bull or something, but there's usually a little bit. And that's probably about all you need. Oh, there is one other thing, of course, and that's if you want to do a tusk. Since we've already done the trunk, I'm making a very short tusk. If you wanted to do a longer tusk, you should think about that ahead of time, because you would draw that about the same time you draw the ear. In fact, I will show you. And I'm going to do him a little differently. Hopefully I won't confuse you too much. You see, I'm doing those tusks first. And then I will come up here and do this head. You see, it isn't a whole lot different here, even though I'm making him face us more. This is a more interesting sort of pose, because he's not just on the side. I usually choose this size pose because it's simpler for people, and this is supposed to be fun and easy, but there I've given you a little more advanced. Oh, and one more thing is they have these cute little toenails. These are actually not all that different from the hooves of a horse. This guy didn't end up being quite as far away looking as I intended, but I do want some distance. One of the rules of thumb, if you want something to seem farther away, put less detail. So I'm not going to do these other things. I'm going to leave him the way he is. And that's pretty much it for this step out. I'm going to be reviewing the Hahnemühle hand lettering pad. and I will be having a giveaway. When I do that, I'm actually going to finish up this picture and color it using various pens and things so that you can kind of see how it works on this particular paper. Use 3 or 4 different types of pen. That's it for today.